All right, here we go. Welcome and hello to week 2, session 2 of Video for Introverts. Sarah, you want to give us a quick introvert greeting?
How does that go? It's like, hello? No, good to see you again. Thanks for joining us. I really had a great time collaborating with Lou. I think I posted a quick video today about joint ventures, and it's been a great experience for me to work with other introverts or just work with other people. And I think that's one of the things that I would like to encourage you as well, not just for video, but to kind of reach out to other people and collaborate together.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially for introverts. And I found that as well when I was kind of first starting out. It was so much easier to do a program or a webinar or anything with a co-partner, a co-host, than it was doing it alone, because you can kind of share the duties and the burdens and whatever else it may be. Of course, I'm gonna edit you, Sarah, so your thing will just say, "I'm so glad that we're ending," and then I'll leave out the other.
Thanks, just go beep or something.
So yeah, we have more good stuff for you today. Really more of a deeper dive into what to say on camera and scripting and things like that. So unless you have anything else, I'll start sharing my screen and we can go from there.
Yeah, maybe we can just now tell Excellence issue to mute their microphones.
Oh,
so
right.
That we have
microphone, so we get a nice clean recording.
A clean recording.
Video is optional, but let me make sure that I can share my correct screen here. There we go. All right. So you should be able to see the slides that say Video for Introverts. Can you see that, Sarah?
Yep.
Just to make sure we're on the same page.
Sorry, I'm still laughing about my bad intro.
That's okay. I did a podcast yesterday, and it's been, this is the kind of week it's been. I had it in my calendar for 2 p.m. for weeks. And then at 1 o'clock, I start getting these urgent texts and messages and things like that and say, "I'm on the webinar. Where are you? We're starting a podcast." And I had to I was so, I don't know what the word is, verschimmeled is an American way to say it. That, the whole
probably because you're not having sugar and,
Yeah, I think that's it. It's like no sugar for 8 days. I'm just, but we got through it. So good thing for texting and Facebook messages and all that we can do that now. So we are on session 2. As you know, your introverted hosts are Sarah and me. And we're so glad that you are part of this. As we said last week, these sessions are recorded, and I'm going to put them in a Thinkific group. I guess we could also put the links in the Facebook group since it's a private Facebook group. But in any case, feel free to keep using the Facebook group. People have been posting practice videos, which is great.
Yeah, good job, Therese. Those were great videos.
Good stuff.
And Julina as well. So yeah, it's still going to be open. Let's just leave it open until the end of the week at least, right? Good. People can still post stuff.
Yep. Yeah. And that way, if you've got any little extra questions, we can do some Q&A. And in addition, obviously on this call, we can do Q&A as well at the end of the content. But basically, some of what we wanted to go over today is really talking about off-camera videos, because they still count as videos. One of the questions I had actually on that podcast I was doing yesterday was, I'm doing a photo montage or an explainer video or an animated video. Does that still count? I'm like, yeah, it's definitely still video, and it opens up a lot of possibilities. And, obviously you may not have the same connection or engagement because you're not being seen on screen, but there are still a lot of options and a lot of tools you can use to create off-camera videos. For some people, it's also a good way to get started, because specifically if you're doing things with like Animoto.com, where you're just doing photo montages or uploading photos, it's usually pretty easy, and it's a good way to get started. And it also opens up a lot of creative opportunities. I mean, personally for me, as I mentioned last week, I don't especially like being on camera, so it gives me a lot of leeway to be able to do other things, and anyone can do that really. And there are tons and tons of options and tools for doing off-camera videos. And when I say off-camera, I obviously just mean videos where you don't have to have your face on the screen. So anything from PowerPoint and webinars like this, where we're just sharing slides and mostly off screen, to things like Adobe Spark, which if you have an iPad is a great free app for creating kind of storytelling videos. Stupeflix is a photo montage software that's also very affordable and easy to use. Actually, spell correct change this. It should be Shaker, SHAKR, is another new service that I've been playing with. So I like to experiment with these different softwares. I use Video Maker FX, Animoto.com. But the thing is, you can try various software and different ways to do video to see what's right for you, because there may be those times when you just need to do off-camera video, or you don't want to be on camera. And if you want to delve into editing, whether you're on a Mac or PC, I often recommend WeVideo. WeVideo.com is a very simple to use video editor. They have a free version, I believe. So basically the off-camera option gives you a lot more flexibility. Have you had any, I know, Sarah, with your experience, you've been doing a lot of webinars, and that's sort of kind of been your entree to this. So anything to add to that?
I just kind of shy away from off-camera options because it's more work. You have to actually edit the video. So that's kind of why I'm like, well, might as well show my head. But otherwise, what I just noticed in the LinkedIn feed, because I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, is that, they have now the videos as well. Yeah. And as you scroll through the feed, what I noticed is I'm less likely to click on a talking head and more likely to click on a video where you see the text scrolling by.
Okay.
Because I immediately know, oh, it's talking about this topic. And so if I'm interested in that topic, I'll stop there. Whereas just somebody, talking, then maybe I'm less interested. Mm-hmm. That's LinkedIn, and then it's very specific to LinkedIn, I think, because it's the business platform.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of it, though, especially if you're on camera, is about what to say and what content you're using. And again, you've heard the expression content is king, and that's still the case. One of the questions actually in the Facebook group, I think, was asking about teleprompters, which brings up the debate of scripting versus ad-libbing, or not scripting, or just having a more less formal way to do it. And it really depends on the video that you're doing. I think last week we talked a little bit about quick versus keeper videos. Quick videos are like Facebook Lives and quick tips and things that are a little bit less formal. And keeper videos are things like your homepage video, things that are going to have some shelf life. When I'm doing a video that's like a homepage video or a sales video, I will tend to script it and kind of write it out, though I won't necessarily stick to that script or try and do it word for word. What I try and do is at least have some kind of an outline. But for me, it's a personal decision, but I don't really like teleprompters. I don't like trying to follow the script. I'd rather just sort of have a fairly good sense of what I'm going to say and then have an outline. But I know for you, Sarah, you really like to really plan it out and map it out so you feel more confident once you get in there, right?
I did that in the beginning, yeah. Definitely. At the same time, I'm just wondering, so these super amazing videos like Marie Forleo, what do they do? Do they have a teleprompter, or do they actually, like actors, learn it by heart?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think in a lot of cases they do, or they can, but they get good at it, because the thing I've found about using teleprompters and you know, my memories from the TV business is it really takes practice to look natural reading a teleprompter, so you don't look like you're, you know, reading across the screen like that when you're using it. It takes some getting used to, it takes some practice. And, you know, the nice thing about professional teleprompters and the ones that they use on TV is that they use sort of a mirror system, so that you're actually looking at the lens but seeing the words. The other teleprompters like Teleprompt Plus on the iPad or some of the desktop things, you know, the words are on the screen, but you're still reading from a screen and the camera is actually up there. So, so it takes some getting used to. The other thing that I try to do is with scripting is just keep it really short, because both for the user's sake and for the content creator's sake, because you have less to remember or less to memorize or less to read from a teleprompter. So shorter is often better. The one big thing in scripting, or the one biggest mistake that I see people making, is that they fail or they forget to put in a call to action, which is kind of the whole point of the video. So you want to remember to include that call to action. And again, even if you have to type it out word for word, and you know, I like tape index cards below the webcam as a, like kind of a cheat thing, but it's a little low tech, but it does the job, and it reminds me to remember the call to action, which is really important.
I think it's because you're so exhausted by the end. You're like, oh, you know, finally it's done, that you're like, oh, whatever, just click the button.
Well, just like, oh, you know, sometimes we don't want to do the hard sell. So it's like, oh, you don't want to buy this, do you?
Yeah.
You have to remember that the call to action is the purpose of the video. So if it's to sign people up or sell them a product or tell them to join something, you have to remind them to do that.
Yeah, so I think I really still struggle with that. So that brings me to another question. Would you, like, for kind of a longer video, would you tape it or record it in bits and then edit it together? Yes. Or would you try to do it all in one go?
I've tried both ways, and again, it's a personal thing. Whatever works best for people. It's kind of like whatever gets the job done. And I've found where I really need to stick to the script if I'm doing something that's a specific sales video, or I'm selling a high ticket item. It's like, okay, if people are going to invest thousands of dollars in this, I better get it right. And in that case, I kind of do it paragraph by paragraph, because I know I'm not going to remember the whole thing or get through the whole thing without making mistakes. And in the old days, you know, you are not so old, but you know, you wanted to do it in one take if you could, because editing was such a pain. And in the TV business, we had something called jump cuts, which is where, you know, you're talking and then the frame shifts and you're talking again, which was sort of like the kiss of death for TV, but video and online video has made that totally acceptable, and especially YouTube. And even the pros do it that way. So even if it's Marie Forleo or someone, Ryan Dice or someone that's done it for years, you'll see a section, then you'll see the screen like split or cut. It's called the jump cut. So rather than having a nice transition, it just jumps. And that's okay, because basically, you know, YouTube has made it acceptable. So record a paragraph, stop, start again, record another paragraph. And, you know, it requires less editing because you're not trying to stitch all those pieces together. If I had to take out, like when I'm doing scripting, all the oh shits that I have said during my videos, I would have a, you know, half-hour blooper reel with curses in them, because, you know, when I get stop or I make a mistake, I usually, you know, swear like a sailor or something. But
so basically what you're saying is, like, the video probably just talking, you know, the text of the video takes 5 minutes, but the whole thing, you probably have, you know, 5 hours of recording that you then have to cut out bits and pieces.
That's the other problem is because, you know, I don't want to do too much editing, and I'm relatively lazy. It's like, oh my God, if I do 9 takes, then I'm going to have to go through 9 videos and see which ones are the best ones. So, you know, I usually don't do more than 5 takes of a video. And oftentimes, I don't know why, there's no science to this, but for me, I find it's the first one or the last one. So either the first one was the best, or the last one was the last one because you decided not to do it again. But again, the other thing you can do is is look at these script templates. I know a lot of folks purchased the package, but we have some samples too of script templates like a welcome video. And again, the welcome video is, I'd mentioned that Axel and I were students of Michael Port, and he had something called a who and do what statement for branding, who you are, what you do, and who you serve. So that's essentially like a welcome video on your website is almost like a video version of your who and do what statement. You know, I'm Lou Bortone, and I help entrepreneurs who struggle with video or whatever, you know, whatever that may be. The other thing that even in your welcome video, which is really an important video to have on your homepage, you're the one doing the video, but it's still kind of a what's in it for me scenario, because everybody coming to your website or to your video wants to know, why should I watch this? What am I going to gain? What's in it for me? So it's still, even though it's you doing the video, you have to really kind of focus on your viewer. And I say it has to pass the sort of who cares test. And that's a little bit, you know, that's kind of tough love, but you have to, when you do the video, you know, you have to really ask, is the viewer going to say, you know, who cares? Or is it something they're going to be interested in? Hopefully, if you've, you know, selected the right target market, they're going to want to hear what you have to say. But they're probably not going to want to hear a lot of other superfluous, sorry, I can't say that, stuff. So, you know, it has to pass the who cares test. And it also has to hook viewers from the start, because you really only have a few seconds to grab their attention and, you know, kind of hook them and make them stay tuned for the rest of the video. So oftentimes you'll see videos that say, you know, I'm so-and-so, and then in the next 2 minutes, you're going to discover how to blah, blah, blah. So they give the benefit right away. They may even say in the next 2 minutes, so people know what they're in for, you know, how long they need to commit to. So you want to really kind of get that done right at the beginning. You don't want to have a lot of intro stuff. One of the things that drives me crazy in webinars is when people do a webinar and they spend the first 20 minutes kind of talking about themselves. And, you know, I mean, it's important to have the, you know, who are you and why should we listen to you, but we don't need the entire life story. So hook from the start, get right to the point. And as I mentioned earlier, probably the most important section is the call to action. What do you want the viewer to do when they're done watching the video? And really, you know, kind of hold them by the virtual hand and tell them that and lead them there. So that's kind of phase one of scripting.
Just a little feedback on what comes up for me is storytelling. Mm-hmm. So you're like, you know, you're kind of telling your story, but at the same time, you know, making it interesting enough for the viewer, right?
Yeah.
And I've just seen our common friend Tassie Russo's new website, and I know you coach her for her videos, and her video, maybe we can put in the link. I don't have it open.
Yeah.
If you have the link, we'll put it in the Facebook page. Her video on her about page or homepage takes you into her story, how, you know, she grew up as the daughter of this Italian immigrant and this German immigrant, and it like hooks you right there, because she shows you pictures of her as she was small, and I thought it was done really well, because as the viewer, you immediately connect with the person. So she's not going to go off and tell you about all her amazing things she's done. At the very beginning, she hooks you right with the story. So I thought that was
that's a great way to do it. And even if it's a short video, and I, you know, really learned this in college in my advertising classes, but you know, you can use the AIDA formula, which has been around for years, which is attention, interest, desire, and action. So obviously you want to get the attention, you want to generate their interest, you want to create desire, especially if it's a sales video. You know, you want people to want something, and of course action, you want them to take action. So I still, you know, to this day, all these years later, go back to that AIDA, attention, interest, desire, action formula when writing video scripts. So, you know, oftentimes you'll tell them, again, with the attention part, what are you going to talk about and why should they listen? Why should they pay attention? You can talk about who you are and who you serve. And again, I'm kind of talking about those initial, I guess you'd call it a welcome video for your homepage. Who you are, who you serve, so people know if they're in the right place, what you can do for them, or what's the result that you get for them. You can see how this is sort of all of that, what's in it for me kind of stuff. Why they want what you can provide, the ultimate, what's the ultimate benefit that you provide. And then, if you can give them a small taste or a sample or a case study of the value you provide, and then finally the call to action, what should they do next, and give the viewer really specific directions for the next step. So one of the things I've started doing is if I have a button on the website, I want to make it painfully obvious. Click the blue button below that says buy now, so really painfully obvious what to do next. And a few other suggestions for that welcome video. You can open with a short branded intro, like a logo reveal or a title card. I do a lot of these for small businesses where, the logo kind of comes flashing in or swirling around, but you don't want that to be like a big 10 or 15 second thing, because then people have to wait 10 or 15 seconds for the content. So most of the ones that I create are just really quick, 3 or 4 seconds, so that somebody knows, okay, this is one of Lou's videos. You can introduce yourself to your web visitors as if you're welcoming someone into your home. So it doesn't have to be overly formal, but it should be, obviously very genuine and welcoming. You could tell them who you are, who you serve, the key result people get from working with you or buying from you. And again, focus on the benefit to the viewer, what's in it for them. I know I sound like a broken record with that, but so many times with video, especially if you're nervous about it or you're not that experienced with it, you may tend to ramble, or because you're nervous, you just get into details that you don't need. So really focus
what would be a great example on what's in it for them? Like I'm thinking on a homepage.
Yeah.
Like
so
a newsletter or
a program about, like something like this, you'd say, benefit to them, the problem and the solution. If you've struggled with video in the past, if you're not comfortable on camera, if you don't like the way you look on camera, we have the solution, and it's ABC. So kind of a problem solution, what's in it for them. And then maybe say, by the time you're done with this course, you're going to have much more confidence on video, and that confidence will, make your clients feel more confident in investing in you. Or, you obviously tweak the wording, but that kind of a thing.
Okay.
If it's a welcome video, like on your website, on your homepage, you want to kind of give them a very succinct overview of what they can expect to find on that website, because you're not just thinking about the video, you're thinking about the context of the video. Where is that video and what's all around it? So if a video is on your homepage and it's sort of front and center, you want to say, below you'll find the 3 programs that I offer. Or, you want to kind of give them a sense. If it's on YouTube, it's a different story, because it's just kind of on your channel amongst many other videos. But if it's on a sales page or an opt-in page, you have to think about not just the video, but where is that video in context of what's around it? Does that make sense?
Yep.
And then again, end with one direct call to action, an offer for them to sign up or opt in, get a free report, a video series, a checklist, whatever it is you're offering as your opt-in freebie. And another mistake is, like, if people are making a video, they think, oh my God, I don't want to do 6 videos. I want to do 1. So I'm going to tell them to opt in for my free report and follow me on Twitter, and here's my Facebook, and don't forget to go, like you've got like 7 call to actions, which is not necessarily a good idea. So try and keep it to, 1 specific direct call to action per video. Anything you want to add to that, Sarah, while I take a sip?
No, Seshi was just asking if we're offering critiques, and so I guess he meant video critiques. So
Yeah.
Please post that in the Facebook group, because we will definitely
and
give your feedback.
Tell us if there's specifically, like if there's something, you want to critique the performance part or the script or the content or whatever. So that'll help us focus on that. So what I wanted to do at this point, if it's okay with you guys, is look at a sample welcome video script. And again, the reason I think this is important is because content is important. And for introverts, we struggle sometimes with what to say and how to say it. So again, this is just an example, but something you can use as a jumping off point. And again, this doesn't mean you have to type it out and follow it word for word. It's just a guide. So when I do, or when I recommend people doing welcome video scripts, obviously you're going to introduce yourself. And usually what I do is I say, in the next 2 minutes, in the next 3 minutes, I'm going to tell you about, whatever that benefit is. And the reason I like to put that in is because sometimes people want to know, all right, what's my commitment here? What am I in for? Like usually when I go to a video, I go to the end to see, is this a 2-minute video or a 10-minute video? Because I don't know if it's a 2-minute video, I can watch it between meetings. If it's 10 minutes, that's a bigger investment. So I should say like what not to do. Hi, this is Lou. And in the next 48 minutes, give them a sense of, it's going to be short and sweet. I'm going to get right to the point. And here's what you're going to learn. Here's what you're going to get. Here's what your benefit is. Sometimes I'll start with that quick tease and then I'll put the branding, like the logo or the branding or the animation. And I call that at least in the US, the nightly news formula, because what they do is if you watch the national nightly news, like, I sometimes stop and watch NBC News, they'll have a tease. They'll say, tragic earthquake in Mexico. And then they'll have this sort of NBC music and all that stuff, and then come back into all the stories. So they sort of do a quick tease at the beginning. They'll do their branding, then they'll come back in with the rest of it. So that's how you start. And then you can say, as a 10-year veteran of the whatever industry, or as an expert in yada yada yada. So you're sort of building your credibility. I've helped hundreds of entrepreneurs, and you kind of identify your target market so people can self-select, and then what you help them with. So that's really just about establishing credibility. Like, hey, I've done this before for many other people, and now I'd like to do it with you. So you're talking about your target market and the result that you get for them. And again, you can go into a little bit more detail. What's the ultimate benefit they gain from working with you? So I might say something like, that's why I want to help you create great video consistently so you can. Because it's like, it's one thing to create video, but what does that really get for you? Does it get you visibility or more clients or more revenue? So usually I would say something like, I want to help you create great video so you can, make more money and have a bigger impact on more people, something like that. So again, I always like to throw in that so you can, because that's the ultimate benefit. You can share a tip. You can give them a taste of what you provide. You can offer some value to enhance your credibility. So you're kind of giving them a sense of what you do. Here are 3 quick tips right now to help you get started with video, or to do whatever you help folks do in your niche. Then we kind of get into the end where you say, if you'd like to find out more, enter your name and email address in the space provided, and I'll send you a freebie. Again, this call to action is going to depend on what you want from folks, but based on the fact that, if it's on a welcome page and somebody's landed on your homepage, you in most cases want to get their name and email address so that you can continue the conversation. You can get them on your list. You can start to, engage with them further. And then, kind of remind them about the benefits. Sign up now so you can start, crushing it with video, or you can start impacting more people and have a bigger, influence. Reiterate your call to action, tell the viewer exactly what you want them to do next. And then just a, quick little thanks for watching, and I hope to talk with you soon. So if you did all this and filled in the blanks for your niche or your expertise, it would be under 2 minutes in most cases. So it's really, it's succinct. You're focusing on your target market. You're telling them exactly what to do, and asking for the call to action, and then you're done.
Sounds so easy.
It sounds easy. Yeah, so a lot of this is kind of fill in the blanks and a little formulaic, and there's no rule that says you have to start out with like, hi, this is Lou, and in the next 2 minutes. It's really just a guide and just one way to kind of do that video, which really, when people say, what are the must-have videos? The first one I list is really a homepage video. It's kind of come to be expected these days. Like if you're a small business or a service provider, 10 years ago, it was people are like, what? You don't have a website? Now it's like, oh, what? You don't have a video on your website? If you're not doing it, it's just kind of a missed opportunity to connect and engage with your viewers. Another one, another template is you can say, welcome to, this is a little bit more corporate, welcome to such and such company. What kind of company are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? And again, this is, like I say, a little bit more for corporate or bigger companies, but you can still use it or adapt it for your own needs. In this case, in this type of video script, you want to tell folks why you're unique or different. And so you might say, we're different in the whatever business because we do such and such. And that's kind of where you'd put your unique selling proposition. You can go a little bit more into your benefits. Like we make it easy for you to do, get, have, whatever the end result is. So it's funny, I saw in America, we have like wells and septic systems and everything where I live in New Hampshire. And I saw the septic system people next door. I'm thinking like, okay, that's a pretty, that's a unique selling proposition, because if your tank backs up, it gets pretty nasty pretty quickly. So it's like, we make it easy for you to, have your yard not smell really, really bad. So again, in fact, you can achieve this outcome simply by, using the method or system that your company provides. You talk about your system or your solution is the fastest or easiest way to reach that desired outcome. Even if you struggle with, okay, this is where you say like, all right, well, will this work for me? This is great, but I'm an introvert, is it going to work? So even if you struggle with your on-camera performance or the way you look on camera, so, you throw a few of those problem challenges in there. And then again, like I said, this is just a rough example. With this awesome company, it's never been easier. We're known for, service, and
that just gives me goosebumps. That it's just like too salesy for an introvert, right?
Yeah, it is. And again, this one's definitely more corporate oriented. Yeah, and this is a little, like, what are you waiting for? Give us a call, sign up below. This sounds like, the commercial that you might see for the lawyer guy that's, if you've been in an accident and you think you're owed money, but again, it's really more about the formula. So change the words to make it more about you, to make it more user-friendly, to make it more informal, but the formula is still a good way to sell it. You're basically talking about, this is who we are, this is why you should work with us, this is what we can do with you, even if you're blah, blah, blah. So do this, sign up below, give us a call, whatever the call to action may be.
I like the first one, because I think as an introvert, what you mentioned makes a lot of sense to me, that you're really focusing on the viewer. And so you're like, here's 3 quick tips, right? And so immediately you're giving value, and that feels so much better as an introvert than just always have to focus on you. You're like, here's what I can tell you right now. And so I think where here in this one, obviously, like you said, it's a bigger company, but I think I was almost trying too much to do this version in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt so yucky, where if I had used the previous version, where you just share tips and it probably would have felt better.
Yeah, and it's interesting because this one is really more of a traditional TV script rather than kind of a homepage video, online video thing. But again, for the formula. And then you mentioned, the welcome video is an about them video. The about me video, that's where you can go into more detail. So the distinction I make is like the video on my homepage is short and sweet and tells somebody what I can do for them. Now, if somebody goes to my about page and says, yeah, but why should I work with you rather than these other 3 video guys or something like that? That's where, hey, they've gone to your about page. They want to know more about you. They want to dig a little deeper. And that gives you the opportunity, like Tassie did with her sort of heritage video, to start to tell your backstory. Mm-hmm. So again, with the about video, and I'll show you an example of this as well, that's an opportunity to introduce yourself, thank the visitor for taking the time to visit. Obviously you still want to be very welcoming. And again, even for introverts, this is not bragging. This is not, being over the top. It's giving folks the backstory so that they can start to feel more comfortable with you and really start that know, like, and trust. So you can give them some background information about you, especially as it pertains to your prospect. Oftentimes you might say, I've been where you are, or I started out like this, or my first videos were absolutely terrible, or whatever it may be. That's relatable. And then remember to, again, even though it's an about me video, still keep your focus on the viewer. Still think, what's in it for me? It still has to, even though you're giving them background information, it has to relate to them and make it interesting and engaging for them. So you can talk a little bit about your target market, how you help them. You can focus on solutions and the benefits you provide, and then just close with an invitation to learn more by giving your email address or a way for prospects to continue the conversation. So it's kind of a much softer sell. But again, this is where, people are probably landing on this page because they want to say, all right, well, who are these guys? Who is this person? Who have they worked with? Why should I listen to them? So it's a little bit of a different animal. Let me show you an example of this. I don't know if I ever actually produced this, but oh yeah, I think I did. So if I was doing, hi, it's Bortone. Thanks so much for visiting this page. I wanted to take a moment to tell you a little bit more about my background and experience and what that means to you. So it's still kind of like, what's in it for you stuff. I help small business owners like you get more visibility with video so you can attract more clients and increase your revenue. My 20 years of experience with major national brands like NBC, Entertainment Television, and Fox makes me uniquely qualified to help you with your marketing challenges and put you on the map. So I'm still trying to do benefits to them. And as I read this, I realize I never did this video. I may have to do it and put it on my website. Do as I say, not as I do. So then I go back into my qualifications and, build the credibility. Where was I? As Senior Vice President of Marketing for Fox Family Worldwide in Los Angeles, I had the opportunity to launch TV shows, brands, and even entire cable networks. More recently, I've had opportunity to work with best-selling authors and speakers like Michael Port, Carol Roth, Mari Smith. So I do like the name dropping because it's credibility building. And if somebody knows Mari Smith and they know I've done videos for her, that might, help build that credibility. You can see what they've said about us on our testimonials page. When I was with E! in Hollywood, I was part of a team that grew the cable network to national prominence. More recently, I'm proud to say that I've helped newbies and established experts as well ramp up their video marketing efforts to get them national exposure and more revenue. I'd welcome the opportunity to get that same kind of results for you. If you'd like to learn more about me and how I can help your business, please call or email me at vip@bortone.com, or click on the link below to download my 5 must-have videos guide. So that's the call to action. Then just a quick outro. I look forward to connecting with you soon. Even for me as an introvert, this sounds a little braggy, but I wrote it out because I realized if I don't script it this way, I won't say it, and I'll like go off my experience. Like, holy crap, I worked with NBC. Why don't I say that? So this is one of the ones that I would have to script and really get more comfortable with, so that it doesn't feel like as an introvert, like, oh my God, me. But, remember, it's an about page. They're coming to that page because they want to know more about you. Why should they work with you? Who have you worked with? Who have you helped? What have you done for them? So that's sort of like my old friend Perry Marshall used to call it authority bling. Like, like if I can drop names and say E Entertainment and Michael Port and all that stuff, it's all true. So I'm not like making stuff up, but it's still as an introvert, this is one of the ones that's a little bit less natural for me.
What about, I'm surprised that you don't bring up your, kind of your brand, the godfather of video, and kind of that Italian side and all of that, which honestly, is very prominent on your emails. Yeah. And so it's like, did you leave that out on purpose, or you just didn't think of, like, I'm thinking, well, maybe it's because people see you for the first time and you don't want to confuse them with that. No,
that's a good question. And honestly, the answer is this was written before all that brand came together.
So you would kind of do that now.
I'm Lou Bortone, and people, and I do it kind of in a joking, fun way. I'm Lou Bortone, and some people call me the godfather of online video, because bad things happen if you don't work with me. No, I wouldn't say that, but I'd say.
Okay, so you would build that in now because it's part of your brand.
Yep. Okay. So that just shows you how this is like over a year old, probably. I didn't update it.
I'm just thinking maybe that you thought that there's 2 versions of the about video. One that's, because this sounds very official,
right?
And so I was like, maybe there's an official one, and then there's the
non-official more of a corporate one, because especially if I'm talking about, I've worked with brands and cable networks. This is probably geared towards more of the corporate clients than
the bigger clients. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So they'd be like, "What do you mean, Godfather?" They'd be a bit confused.
Right. Yeah. So again, it's a lot of it depends on the audience. That's why I say I've worked with MSNBC's Carol Roth, because people might say, "Oh, okay, that's that's business." But this, again, the reason that, or the fact that I have not done this and put it on my website brings up what I call the promo problem, which we can certainly talk about. And that's, as introverts, we don't like to toot our own horns. We don't necessarily like to promote ourselves, but we really have to. And it's, I think, a little more challenging for people who tend to be introverted to ask for the sale. But, the way that I start to get to that, and I want to hear what Sarah has to say, but I start to think that, well, if I don't say anything and I don't ask for the sale and I don't offer my services, then I'm doing both myself and the viewer a disservice, because the message matters if it's to the right audience. So you want to share it. And I always say, I don't always say this, but I thought it was clever. If you're shy, go back to your why. You have to think, all right, why am I doing this again? Besides the fact that I have 2 kids in college and 2 tuitions to pay, like, you go back to your, like, why, like, okay, well now or you're really passionate about something, or, you just love what you do. You go back to your why. Sorry. Somebody's calling. And that's it. So, I wonder what your sense of this is, Sarah, having worked with introverts and done all those podcasts with introverted people, and how they handle what I call the promo problem.
Yeah, it's definitely an issue for introverts, especially because we're, like, we don't want to, like you said, toot our own horn, put ourselves out there too much. And I think compared to extroverts, we're just more concerned about what other people maybe think of ourselves, talking about ourselves too much. So,
Yeah.
It's to me, it has to do with confidence. So once, and I think what you're saying is right. Once you know about your why, and you know that what you're offering is being helpful to other people,
yeah,
then it's just, a matter of saying it aloud, and totally agree with you. I think I always tell myself, well, they don't have to buy it. I'm not obligating anybody to buy it, but I know deep inside that what I'm offering is honestly helpful to people. And so they can take it or leave it. But I think that, that's really what it comes down to.
And I think a lot of it too has to do with asking for the sale, asking for money. It's almost like, when I was working with, I had a strategy call with one coach, and I'm like, so what does it involve to work with you? It's like, well, it's $20,000 for 3 months. I was like, those words won't even come out of my mouth. But if you say it enough and you do it enough, then, okay, well, hey, I've worked with NBC and Michael Port, so yeah, it's 20, whatever. It isn't really that much, but the person that said that to me, hold on while I get off the floor because I just fell off my chair. But for them, it was like they were saying oh, the sun's out today, So you have to really kind of, I think, almost rehearse and train yourself to get ready for that. And then when you come back to your why, I kind of say, well, no one cares who you're wearing, like they say at the Oscars. They only care if you can solve their problem. So a lot of the introversion, camera shyness, things like that, I often say, it's like, look, they don't really care that, that you dyed your hair or that the lighting isn't quite right. If you can solve their problem, that's all they want to worry about. I've seen some videos, I've gone to videos on YouTube and I've searched and I've said how to do these such and such plugins. So I have a tech question. I go to YouTube and it's a 12-year-old, literally a 12-year-old kid doing a demo of this, how to install this software. I don't care if he's 12 years old. If he's going to show me how to install the software, I'm good. So that's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah. And again, it doesn't matter whether that's showing your face or just a tutorial and sharing your screen. In the end, it's going to be on YouTube, and so that's what brings the traffic to your site. How much? I think it was 80%. Cisco is saying that 80% of the traffic is going to be from YouTube. That's
when you look at Facebook and Twitter and Instagram putting so much emphasis on video, it starts to see wow, and Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook has kind of said himself that he almost sees Facebook as it's just going to be one video after another. So a lot of stuff is going in that direction, and it's kind of well, introvert or no introvert, we got to be part of this party. So
it's funny though, because it brings up one topic for me, which is, who's actually going to watch all these videos? It's well, we're producing all these videos, but I know that I don't have time to watch Facebook Lives all day long. So I think that brings up maybe the topic of repurposing that has also been mentioned in the Facebook group. So I think that's an important part, right? How do you, it's not enough to just create the content. We're talking about the quick videos here, not the keeper videos. You actually have to do something with them after as well.
And give your audience a chance to see it. Because if I say, oh, I did a quick video about my day 8 with no sugar or something, it's just a very informal 2-minute video, whatever. Well, if people weren't watching at that time, now it's who knows where in Facebook. So you have to either repost it or put it on YouTube or send it to Instagram. There's so many ways to repurpose it. And what you're basically doing is giving your audience as many opportunities as possible to find it and to see it and to decide, they can decide they want to watch it or they don't. But
do you sometimes can you embed the Facebook Live into an email, or you would just link to it?
I would probably just link to it. I think you can, depending on the software that you're using, like Infusionsoft.
I don't think I do that enough.
Yeah.
Because my main tool of communication is really my list, email. And so since I started these Facebook Lives, I didn't really, link the two together. So that's a big
So I realize I'm looking over here because that's where the faces are, and that's like the natural thing is to look at somebody's face. But I keep remembering, oh yeah, the camera's over here. So sorry about that. But there you go. So yeah, anything else before we jump into Q&A?
No, you already brought up the question from, I think it was Cheryl who asked about the teleprompter. So that's what I wrote down not to forget about.
Yeah.
And
so
then,
I would say with teleprompters, it's really about practicing and your comfort level. I will, tell one quick story about, speaking of teleprompters. When I was doing a lot more video production and shooting videos for people, shooting homepage videos and about me videos, I was doing some actually for Michael Port and his students, and they would come in and do their video, and I would take it back and edit it. And for the most part, people were trying to do teleprompters, and it wasn't really working. And sometimes I'd just talk to them and ask them questions about, like, who are your ideal clients or whatever, and pull it out that way. But one of my friends had her script on pieces of paper taped together like a scroll, a really, really long thing. And her friend was standing on the chair behind her, like rolling out the paper. I mean, literally pieces of paper with the script on it. And when I brought the video home to edit it, it was like, what is all that crinkling noise? It was like, oh my God, it's the paper script. So that was her like really low-tech version of a teleprompter. As Alex says, I tried to work with a teleprompter for some time. It never really worked out because you had to try it so often. I knew the text by heart at the end. So yeah, I mean, if you rehearse it enough, you're going to feel like, I know the script, I can get through it. Let's see. There's Vincent had a couple of questions as well. A couple of them were sent to me on the chat. Let's see. Is it possible to get your recommendation to use a software to record my voice in kind of a podcast? It depends what editing software you're using. Like for me, I'd still record it in Final Cut Pro because that's what I use to edit, and then just strip out the audio. Same for iMovie. There's software called Audello or Audacity. I mean, basically anything that's going to allow you to record your audio should do the trick.
I use Audacity, and
Audacity, yep, A-U-D-A. Maybe we can put that in the chat. Vincent had another question about recommending to the video sitting or standing. That's a really good question. Again, some of it just comes down to personal preference. A lot of people will say they have more energy when they're standing. For me, it's weird, and I have a strange reason. Like if I put a green screen behind me, I'm sitting down, and just because of the way the room and the office is set up, I pretty much have to sit down. So it's kind of a personal. I'm going to put Audacity in here. Is it audacity.com?
Don't think it's .com.
I don't even know if they still make Audello, but that was some stuff that I purchased a while back for podcasting specifically. And then let me go back and see if there's a few other questions here. So sitting or standing, again, it's a personal preference.
I guess it's a personal preference, but it's also matters how you're going to film it. Like if you're, if you're filming with your phone, then you need to make sure you hold your phone, the right angle. If you're filming with your webcam as well, well, you're gonna have to raise the desk or something. So
I don't do them standing up because 99% of the time I'm just wearing like shorts or cutoffs or sweatpants. So I only dress from the waist up for video. So. All right, there's another question from Axel. How much time do you spend for marketing, and how much time do you spend for quote unquote real work? You want to tackle that one, Sarah? That's a good question.
what does that mean, real
I
work?
would say like, like basically if you're talking about marketing, like, finding clients and prospects and building your business versus admin or what we call delivery, like, okay, I have clients and I have to coach with them or I have to finish a project for them. Honestly, for me, it's probably 80% marketing only because of the nature of my business. I have to do it that way to make it work. So it's my
I was going to say, yeah,
ratio is
at
probably
least
kind of out of whack.
60-40. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Because the thing is, I find when I don't market, a month or 6 weeks later, I see it in my income. I mean, it's almost like, I can measure it almost that exactly. Like I know, like I just had a meeting with my bookkeeper and I had kind of a crappy August, and I realized, okay, my wife was away for the entire month because her dad was sick. I was trying to sell my house, all these things. Like, okay, well, I wasn't doing a lot of marketing, so I paid the price. So that's a good question. I think, again, a lot of it comes down to it depends, but it's got to be at least 50-50 depending on how much.
Yeah, I think 50-50 should just be for every business. And then it depends, on the return on investment. Well, what do you do? Do you sell just online products? Well, then obviously you're probably going to have to market more because your, ticket per client is lower. If you have a $10,000 service, then you can live a bit longer with that.
Yep. And then, Axel, another good technical question. How far away do you have to be in front of a green screen so that you don't get a green silhouette? Really good question. I was at the beginning moving my green screen out of the way. In a perfect world, you'd probably be about 3 feet in front of it. And you'd probably backlight your green screen. And what people don't usually know about chroma key or green screen is that so much of it is about the lighting and not even the placement of the green screen or the color or things like that. You have to flood that green screen with light so that, it's really well lit and evenly lit. And that's what I usually find. And, because I don't know if it's because I grew up in the TV business, I'm just sort of obsessed with green screen and chroma key. When I watch the news or the weather, I'll try and decide how good their chroma key is, because you can oftentimes, I can tell if something's chroma key, like they're not really in Boston, even though they say, because you can usually see a little bit of green tint around the head or the hair. And if you have, long hair or something, it's really hard because those thin strands don't key out very well. So it really depends. Like sometimes if you watch Saturday Night Live and they use a lot of green screen, you'll see when they go to commercial, they'll cut and show the set and they'll just show the green screen. And that thing is like really bright, just flooded with light. So for green screen, it's really more about the lighting. Therese says, I would need more technical advice and tutorials on using the different video platforms. Yes, it is, it's a process and something that I, basically teach all year. So, and Therese, Therese, how do you pronounce that?
Therese.
Ah, perfect, Therese. And this is probably a question better for Sarah. For LinkedIn, which platform do you use?
Well, LinkedIn just has recently rolled out their own native videos. So don't know if you have it yet. They're rolling it out slowly. I just got it literally last week. And so on your LinkedIn feed, you will now see that you can not only share an image, but you can also share a video. And so you don't need, a special tool anymore. You just click on the video and you record your video and then you upload it. So if even LinkedIn gets into video, that means, really that's the direction we're going. And so, so LinkedIn, you have your own video. Facebook, you have Facebook Live. You have YouTube, where you can either create the videos there, or YouTube is kind of special. Like it's a video platform, so you can create the videos anywhere and upload them later to YouTube. Yeah. But most of the platforms now, including LinkedIn, have their own video tool, and so you don't have to actually, film it somewhere else and then upload it. You can directly film it and stream it on LinkedIn. You mentioned Instagram, right? Do they have?
Yeah.
Is it limited in time or
1 minute videos that you pre-produce and upload, or for Instagram Live, there's really no, it's more like Facebook Live. You don't have that 1 minute restriction.
Right.
I think Facebook Live, they may have changed this now, but I think it was 4 hour limit. I'm like, oh my God, anybody that does video for 4 hours, God bless them, but that ain't me. So do you have to pay for LinkedIn videos? Do you know that, Sarah? I don't think so.
No.
Just like regular.
It's with the free account.
Yep. And I have to look at that. In fact, I signed up for a webinar with another one of our colleagues this afternoon to talk. They're talking specifically about LinkedIn videos. So it's like I feel like I'm playing catch up on that because I didn't get it right away, and I have to kind of see what it's all about. But I don't think it's really anything special other than, oh, okay, well now you can upload your videos natively to LinkedIn rather than having to post them there from YouTube or something.
Exactly. It's just easier, and I think that's what Teres was asking. Well, how do you do it? Well, they just provided you the button to film yourself and upload it directly.
Like a post. Yeah,
it's like a post. It's not live, so it's not like Facebook Live, but you film it and then upload it.
Yep. Yeah. Vincent says he's going to try and do his video standing. As for sound quality, it's obviously key. What is your recommendation advice for Bluetooth? I don't know, because I use a blue mic, a blue snowball USB mic. So I'm not doing any kind of fancy schmancy Wi-Fi or Bluetooth stuff. I'm trying to go direct. And if it's with the phone, again, you can get away with arm's length at the phone, and still not lose any audio. If it gets too much further away than that, then you're going to have to maybe get an external microphone. And I can't remember who posted something about an external mic today.
Yeah, I think Teres, because I was mentioning that as well for her videos. When she does the breathing exercises. It was still audible and it was still okay, but I think if she's going to create an e-course about it, then maybe a lapel mic might help her as well.
Especially because I know, like at one point where you kind of backed up and did the breathing thing, obviously the further you get away from the camera / microphone, the more of an issue it's going to be. And then she also says, do video outdoors, you lose sound quality outdoors. Yes. When you go outside, that opens up a host of problems, not the least of which is you can't control the environment. If it's windy, if there's traffic noise, if there's, it seems like every time I want to do a video, the guy next door decides to mow his lawn and make a ton of noise. So you can't really control it. So again, when you go outdoors, you're losing an element of control. At the very least, you probably want some kind of a lapel or lavalier mic that's close to you so that you're not getting as much as all the other stuff.
What would you say? I would think that maybe the keeper videos are probably preferably inside.
Yeah.
Like on your homepage, you wouldn't do a video outside, right?
Yeah, I would, I try and stay away from it unless it's a quick, like, okay, I'm taking Rocco the pug for a walk. I'm going to do a quick Facebook Live if I have a connection, and then it's less of an issue. I mean, unless you're like, I'm a forest ranger and I work outside in the forest, so I have to do my videos here. Don't, like I always say, don't make it any more complicated than it needs to be. And doing a video outside adds all kinds of complexity and, like everything from wind to traffic noise to, oh my God, those birds won't shut up. Shut up, birds. So
to me, it's always people staring at me. It's like, who's she talking to? And so they walk really slowly, look at me. I'm like, I'm just doing my video.
Yes. And as Axel says, you can buy a little furry thing for the Rode lavalier mic, black and white, which is like a windscreen, I guess you'd call it. So yeah, there's definitely, it opens up a host of issues. So I say, if you don't have to go outside, don't go outside. Let's see, anything else? Looks like we covered pretty much everything. We're at the top of the hour here, so. Anything else you can think of, Sarah?
Yeah, just going through
We'll leave the Facebook group open for a little while. You know, you obviously know how to contact me or Sarah if you have any other questions or you want to do anything else with us. You know, I do private coaching. I know, Sarah, you do some of that as well. So
is this where we do our sales pitch?
I don't know. I'm an introvert. I can't do that.
I can't do that either. No. Yeah, I just want to say that we're going to leave.
Hold on. I'm going to go back to my about video and do my.
All right. Yeah, go ahead. Do your official. No, I just want to say that we're going to leave the Facebook group definitely open until, let's say, the end of the week. So as some of you are going to watch this in the recording, the replay, go ahead and post your questions. Seshu, go ahead and post your video for us to critique it. I did mention that I'm going to post the link again to, actually maybe you can do that because you might have it handy, Lou, your video scripts for people who didn't get it and want to get that. We'll post that in the Facebook group, and we'll make sure that we send you the recording as well, and you'll have access to that. And
I'll also put these on my Thinkific site. I didn't want to do it till I had both of the recordings, and I made sure they came out okay. And I just discovered this annotation tool on Zoom, so I think this would probably be a good time to stop because I have such a short attention span that I'm going to start fooling around.
Coloring things in.
Being a goofball.
Can you draw on our faces too?
I don't think so. Nope. You're off the hook. So.
All right. I think that's it. Thanks so much. This was a great.
We're good. Thank you guys for participating. Great to have you here, and congratulations, because I know as an introvert and for introverts, stepping out there and doing it is not always easy. So great job, and we hope to continue seeing you and work with you in the future.
Yep.
Bye, guys.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a nice evening or rest of the day.